Stick around, we're gonna talk about money. Not fake money, real money. How much is my case worth? As a personal injury attorney, that's the first question I get. I tell someone they have potential for a case, and they ask, how much is my case worth? As any lawyer will tell you, it depends. Mainly on three components. First component, the injury. What injury did you sustain? I mean, after all, it is a personal injury case. You would understand there's a difference between a broken nail or a broken bone. Along with what medical expenses come with that injury, and pain and suffering, we can evaluate the case. If you go to the hospital and only go to the emergency room, they give you aspirin and you go home, nothing came of it, those medical bills will be less if you were hospitalized for a few days, if had to have surgery. So those go into the evaluation of the case. In the legal world, this is called damages. There's economic damages and non-economic damages. Economic damages are medical bills, lost wages, your ability to earn money in the future for what you do in your employment. Non-economic damages are things like pain and suffering, inconvenience. Those type of things are a little bit more difficult to prove because they don't have a value attached to them, a monetary value, a dollar amount. Since they don't have a dollar amount attached to them, it all depends on what injury you sustained. The second component is negligence. Just because you were injured somewhere or you sustained an injury doesn't mean that you have the right to compensation. We have to prove that the tortfeasor or the person that did the wrong was negligent. Just because you fall in a store doesn't mean that the store is at fault. I talk a little bit more about that in another one of my segments. The third component, what coverage exists. This has to do a lot with insurances. For instance, in a car accident, what kind of insurance does the person that hit you have? Or what kind of insurance do you have for yourself? I also talk about this in one of my other segments. It's a very important thing to know, especially with Florida law. What is my case worth? It all depends. But for example, in an instance where there's a car accident, you get rear-ended by a pickup truck that is speeding on the highway. You break your leg and you go to the hospital for 10 days. In a case like that, there's no doubt that the person that was speeding and following too closely was negligent. So we have negligence. What happens if the guy who hit you that was negligent has no insurance and lives at his aunt's house? He has nothing to his name. There's no viable case to have there because there's no way to get compensation. Many of these things depend on what the injury is and how the incident occurred. If you call my office, I can explain a little bit more what your case may be worth. But the truth is that without having the proper investigation of all the factors we discussed, it's impossible to give you an exact number, and any lawyer that's giving you an exact number is not being honest with you. Call my office, ask us about your case, and we'll try to give you best understanding possible with the factors in your case.